Good morning, everyone. It's right at 11 o'clock, and I know we still have some people jumping on the call, but we wanted to get started because we have a lot to go over. I want to thank you all for joining us today for our Appreciate Arizona Effective Communications webinar. My name is Debbie Johnson, and I'm the Director of the Arizona Office of Tourism. I'm really excited about this presentation today, and I think you're going to get some great information about how to communicate the importance of Appreciate AZ to our visitors and residents. When we started this partnership with the Leave No Trace Center for Outdoor Ethics, we wanted to make sure that we were able to build a substantial education component to this program. And this is something that I've learned from Leave No Trace, is that people form lasting connections with nature when they understand how to care for it. So we want people to understand, and we need to take this opportunity to educate them. We truly want to be part of the solution and to help educate our visitors and residents on how to recreate responsibly in our state. I believe that our partnership with Leave No Trace has helped us to build a great educational program, and we need to use it, all of us need to use it to help ensure that our visitors or residents know what to do so Arizona's here for the future generations. With that, I am really excited to introduce today's speaker. He has been a great partner of ours in this process, and he is just one of the most passionate people about the outdoors. So Andrew Leary is the National Outreach Manager for the Leave No Trace Center for Outdoor Ethics, and he's based out of Boulder. He comes from the center's education team and designs outcomes-driven education programs that reach travelers and visitors in tourism spaces. In addition to this, he has some great perspective from his work in adventure tourism, as well as outdoor retail. And with that, it's all yours, Andrew.
Well, thanks for that introduction, Debbie, and I'm thrilled to be here with you all today to take a more in-depth look into the ways that you can help reach visitors and travelers with the Appreciate AZ Leave No Trace messaging. Before I begin, I just want to say, as we discuss public lands in Arizona and how we take care of our shared outdoor spaces, I encourage you to research and learn more about the land that you live and recreate on. What we refer to as federal, state, and public lands here in Arizona are the traditional and ancestral homelands of the Hopi, Pueblo, Western Apache, and Hohokam. Additionally, there are 22 federally recognized tribes in Arizona. As we learn how we can inspire visitors and travelers to take care of the land when recreating outdoors, we want to honor and acknowledge Indigenous peoples who have been stewards of the land since time immemorial. I'm thrilled to be with you all today to talk about effective stewardship communication with Arizona's visitors and travelers. As someone who works in or owns a business adjacent to Arizona's tourism industry, you play a crucial role in helping to promote awareness of the Appreciate AZ Leave No Trace initiative to all visitors and travelers. That increased awareness leads to a visitor behavior change that will help minimize negative outdoor recreation impacts in Arizona. Again, my name is Andrew Leary, and I'm the National Outreach Manager at the Leave No Trace Center for Outdoor Ethics, based in Colorado. Our partnership with the Arizona Office of Tourism supports the Appreciate AZ Leave No Trace initiative. I'm especially excited about today's effective communication topic because, in addition to my background as an educator, I've worked in the adventure travel industry for over a decade, leading outdoor trips and expeditions for clients across the globe. I've also worked in several customer-facing roles in the ski industry, as well as brick and mortar outdoor retail worlds. I hope to impart what I've learned over the years so that you can feel more confident and prepared to meaningfully engage visitors and travelers with Appreciate AZ's Leave No Trace stewardship messaging. Before I dive into the fundamentals of effective Leave No Trace communication, I want you to know that you, your staff, and your business play a crucial role in bringing the human lens of the Appreciate AZ Leave No Trace initiative to life. Conversations, storytelling, learning about a place from someone who's been there before, that's the life that you give this statewide initiative. On top of that, trends over the last few years have shown that visitor perceptions of sustainability has emerged as a key variable for visitors' destination choices. All that is to say, outdoor stewardship not only helps to minimize impacts, but it can be an economic driver for your community as well. Remember, the outdoors is a finite resource, and once it's gone, visitors will look to other areas to travel and spend their dollars. You and your business play an active role to ensure that Arizona's outdoors can sustainably support visitation and recreation growth for years to come. So I want to talk about 3 fundamental tips for reaching Arizona visitors and travelers with Appreciate AZ Leave No Trace messaging. The first is being prepared and confident in your own knowledge of what Appreciate AZ is. What is Leave No Trace? Why is it needed? How does it help? How can you resource yourself to be an expert in Appreciate AZ? The Arizona Office of Tourism has you covered there. Next is to tap into your own outdoor experiences. Why do you value outdoor recreation? What does it mean in your life? And how are those experiences linked to this idea of responsibility, respect, and caring for outdoor spaces that you might be able to share with visitors and travelers? And finally is your timing for engaging visitors and travelers with this crucial information about how they can help make a difference. So, in order to engage visitors and travelers or your customers, you really need to have resources surrounding you. What is Appreciate AZ? How does it help people understand what it means to leave no trace when they're recreating outdoors in Arizona? The Arizona Office of Tourism has you covered there. It's developed an extensive partner toolkit that includes talking points, trifold brochure, posters, stickers, sample social media posts that you can use, and a whole lot more. Check out the partner toolkit on the Appreciate AZ website. In addition to the toolkit, there are a number of online workshops where you can learn at your own pace and take a deeper dive into the Appreciate AZ Leave No Trace 7 principles, why these guidelines help address the outdoor recreation impacts that we're seeing, and much more. We'll take a look at examples of outdoor recreation impacts a little later, but I encourage you to check out those online learning resources on the Appreciate AZ website to become more familiar with the what and the why behind the initiative. Having a foundation of knowledge to draw upon is going to make you feel so much more confident for making meaningful connections with visitors and travelers that you welcome into your business. Tap into these resources. All right, so tip number 1, your own knowledge about Appreciate AZ is the foundational resource that you need to equip yourself with. Those talking points in the partner toolkit are going to be a great starting place, but I don't want you to memorize lines and lines of text so that you can give a visitor a monologue about what it means to Appreciate AZ. My hope is that you'll feel inspired to use your authentic voice to encourage visitors and travelers to minimize their impacts when recreating outdoors. So let's also make sure that you're surrounded by messaging resources so that you can refer to those items when you're talking about Appreciate AZ. Those visual cues are going to really help the context for what you're talking about and what the visitor or traveler is envisioning if you can use those resources. The low-hanging fruit, it starts with digital placement on your social channels and on your website. Does outdoor stewardship align with your business values? How does it do that? That might be an opportunity to also weave your own storytelling into what Appreciate AZ is trying to accomplish with visitors and travelers. Again, websites and social channels are the low-hanging fruit that's super easy to help reach visitors and travelers. But placement goes beyond the digital space. It's also important in the physical space as well. Let's take a look at a retail store, for example. What opportunities exist to bring Appreciate AZ messaging to visitors and travelers who are your customers? The cash wrap is an easy place to include Appreciate AZ signage or messaging. Lots of great physical placement opportunities in an area where you know a customer is going to spend some amount of time completing their transaction with you. I remember from my time in retail that the cash wrap is also a great place to have non-sales interactions with customers, engaging them in things like, where are you hiking later? Have you heard about Appreciate AZ? You may want to have a backup plan in case that trailhead parking lot is full. Those simple interactions plus resources around you open up a lot of runway to increase someone's awareness about outdoor stewardship in Arizona. Let's see where else we have some opportunities around the store. Signage, both table or rack placements plus freestanding pieces, are excellent resources that will support you and your staff feeling confident to talk about Appreciate AZ with visitors. They can be active learning resources when you refer to the Appreciate AZ poster, for instance, during your conversation with a customer. They can also be great passive learning resources for customers who are looking at product or walking around the store. Put a plan ahead and prepare poster next to a water bottle display, for instance, and I bet you'll see an increase in that item being brought up to the cash wrap. Fitting rooms and any public use restrooms are also a great place to put Appreciate AZ signage and messaging. Don't miss out on those opportunities. Finally, think about the front door of your business. It's the first thing people encounter and the last thing they walk through after the great experience that they had with you. Use that physical space to show your support as a proud partner of the Appreciate AZ initiative. You'll likely find that window shoppers will be drawn into your business because they see that you support stewardship and sustainability in Arizona. Retail isn't the only type of business that has these physical spaces to place active and passive messaging. Hotels, restaurants, breweries, wineries, really any brick and mortar business has these similar spaces. But let's step back for a moment beyond the physical spaces. What if visitors and travelers could arrive to you with a basic knowledge of Appreciate AZ? Something that they already are associating with your business, perhaps? Just like Leave No Trace, there's a tremendous amount of power in reaching people with simple and effective stewardship messaging before their trip starts. If your business uses any type of reservation-based system, you have the opportunity to help visitors and travelers increase their awareness and potentially change their behaviors before impacts even occur in the outdoors. So here's an example timeline of the visitor experience with a reservation and booking system. It begins with the registration, and then time passes before they arrive to your business. And finally, the customer is spending some period of time with you. This could be an hour for a restaurant or several days if you're a hotel, guide service, or campground. After their on-site experience, they depart, and you're hopefully going to have a return customer at some point again in the future. What if you could make customers more aware of the Appreciate AZ initiative as they're planning their trip and registering on your website? How about in those pre-arrival or confirmation emails that you send them with helpful reminders or tips? On the tail end, I'm sure that you want that customer to be reminded of the great experience that they had with you and come back again and again to visit your business. You might do this through a follow-up email, add them to your e-news mailer, or send them marketing materials. You can do a lot to anchor the Appreciate AZ stewardship messaging to your business's values by using some of these toolkit resources in these digital reservation spaces. Okay, tip 2. This really relates to tapping into your own experiences recreating in Arizona. Think about the times that you have spent outside with family, friends, or even by yourself. What do those experiences mean to you? How are those experiences affected when you encounter negative impacts to land or water resources that were easily preventable? Appreciate AZ Leave No Trace messaging is the solution for those impacts. Let's take a closer look at those impacts so you can begin to familiarize yourself with what you're seeing outdoors. Outdoor recreation has the potential for some significant impacts to wildlife, big and small. The photo that you're seeing is a water bird that has fishing line wrapped around the bottom of its beak. Cultural sites where petroglyphs that have withstood the elements for centuries may fall victim to visitor-produced graffiti or defacing, which is a common problem in Arizona. Vegetation impacts can be big or small, but significant nonetheless. This particular image shows people's initials and their names carved into the cactus. Not only does that affect the next person's viewing experience of that amazing plant, but the carvings are an entry point for bacteria and disease to eat away at that cactus. Soil impacts also happen on a big and small scale. The desert environment is sensitive, and hiking off trail to reach a climbing area, for instance, from the main road creates a web of undesignated trails. These user-created trails compact the soil, and in the end, this area won't be able to support any vegetation growth without substantial restoration efforts. Water resources can be affected by trash, litter, and pollutants resulting from outdoor recreation. And wildfires are a big deal in Arizona. You don't need me to tell you that. And this photo doesn't do justice to the fire seasons that you all have experienced over the years. Appreciate AZ and Leave No Trace are not anti-campfire. They are pro-responsible campfire. And there's some really simple steps that we can all take to ensure our campfires don't start the next catastrophic wildfire event in Arizona. And finally, we have social impacts. These are the impacts that affect other visitors. This photo is taken at the rim of Horseshoe Bend and shows a number of people who are very close to the rim, with a few individuals sitting on the edge of that 1,000-foot cliff. How many people there on this day saw these folks posing on the edge of the rim and decided, hey, I'm going to do that too? How many of you have read those stories about the tragedies that occur when someone slips and falls? Negative encounters with pets in the outdoors, music being played on Bluetooth speakers on a trail, being shamed by someone for not practicing Leave No Trace the quote, right way. By the way, shaming doesn't work to create behavior change, but those are all examples of social impacts that are a reality in the outdoors. So hopefully you know a little bit more about the impacts affecting Arizona's outdoor experience. You can find more information in the Partner Toolkit as well as on the Appreciate AZ website. So now we can start to combine some of the ingredients of effective communication for reaching visitors and travelers. Weave your experiences witnessing the magic in the outdoors with the reality of some of these negative recreation impacts that are in your area. And in the end, you come to a place where Appreciate AZ can be the solution for visitors and travelers to help play a role in protecting Arizona's outdoor spaces. This formula, so to speak, should help you confidently talk to visitors and travelers about why stewardship is so important in Arizona. All right, tip number 3 is all about timing. When is the right time to reach somebody with Appreciate AZ information? Consider these questions. How do you make an introduction or break the ice with a traveler or visitor? What opens up the space for a conversation with somebody? Are you interacting with visitors before, during, or after their time in the outdoors? Being aware of this timing can really set the stage for an easy approach to confidently reaching visitors, travelers, and more. The question still remains though, what can you do to get the ball rolling with this Appreciate AZ conversation? Ask if they've heard of the Appreciate AZ initiative. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great starting question, but there are a lot of other options that you might have available as well. So here's a short list of question prompts that Appreciate AZ and Leave No Trace have come up with to help you get the ball rolling with visitors and travelers. The full one-page list of these questions can be found on the Appreciate AZ website. But right now, let's take a closer look at some of these questions. So great place to reach people with this communication is the beginning of the day, before a customer heads out to recreate. Leave No Trace information can be crucial from the get-go to help minimize or prevent impacts in the outdoors before people go outside. In my experience, I've absolutely engaged customers with questions like, where are you hiking today? Do you all have at least 2 liters of water with you? It's gonna be pretty hot out. It may seem like a very pointed question, but especially in Arizona's climate, recreating outdoors without enough water for you or your pet can be deadly. How about during the day? This is a great scenario to consider for any of you in hotels, restaurants, breweries, or wineries. How was your hike this morning? How much trash or litter did you notice when you're out there? A prompt like this can really open the door for encouraging folks when they head back outside in the afternoon to potentially pack out their trash And if they feel comfortable, maybe packing out other litter that they come across. And finally, at the end of the day, reflection questions can be a great way to engage people so that the next time they go out, they might be able to put the Appreciate AZ Leave No Trace principles into action. Again, this best time to reach people is before they go outside. We want to equip people with education so that they can minimize their impacts before they even take place. But it's also really effective to engage people in this reflective approach because the context of the outdoor experience that they had might actually help them be a better steward of the outdoors tomorrow or the next time that they go outside to recreate in Arizona. So, full disclaimer, you're probably not going to reach every single visitor or traveler with stewardship messaging. It's just a consequence of the different types of folks who recreate that are out there. But luckily, Leave No Trace messaging has been shown to be effective with reaching people who are simply careless or unskilled or uninformed. And the good news is that the majority of people spending time in the outdoors fall into one of these three groups. Are you going to be able to reach the person who has malicious intent to cause impacts in the outdoors? No. But you can reach the majority of people. And again, unskilled, uninformed, potentially careless, that's really the sweet spot for Appreciate AZ Leave No Trace messaging. So here are some key takeaways. You play a crucial role for reaching and inspiring visitors and travelers with the Appreciate AZ message. Promoting stewardship and sustainability in Arizona is also good for your business. Be sure to check out the Appreciate AZ Partner Toolkit and other great resources on the Appreciate AZ website. Use those physical and digital spaces around you to help amplify the message so that you can feel more confident when you have conversations with visitors and travelers. Think about your own experiences in the outdoors and how that relates to the Appreciate AZ Leave No Trace message. Be sure to tell your story when you're talking to visitors and travelers. I pass this final sentiment along to everybody who engages in teaching others about outdoor stewardship. What you're doing is you're developing a muscle, and it's going to take repetitions for that muscle to start to feel strong and confident and get you to the point where you're feeling comfortable. So try not to be dismayed if the first couple times talking to somebody about stewardship in Arizona doesn't quite feel comfortable or doesn't quite result in the engagement that you were looking for. You, as somebody who works with customers on a daily basis, already have this excellent foundation to utilize the resources we just explored. So you're going to develop that muscle really quickly and be able to work with all of the visitors, travelers, and customers that you interact with. I hope you're feeling more confident and prepared to talk to visitors and travelers about what stewardship means in Arizona. Again, you play a big role, and thank you for being a part of the Appreciate AZ Leave No Trace initiative. With that, I'll turn it back over to Kiva.
Thank you, Andrew. We certainly appreciate everything you shared today. We wanted to offer a small Q&A session this morning. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat function. Andrew will be able to address anything that we have. A couple of questions did come through, Andrew, that I can throw your way right now.
Sure.
Are there certain principles that are more of a concern in Arizona than in other locations?
I always plan ahead and prepare. The first principle of Appreciate AZ Leave No Trace, super important in Arizona. There are lots of different ecosystems and environments that travelers from out of state aren't going to be used to. Combine that with the heat and dry air and altitudes that exist in Arizona. And that's a big, a unique combination where if we can help people be prepared for all of those things, then the likelihood of them causing impacts is going to be much, much lower. Another big one is very specific for Arizona, but also the Mountain West in general, is being careful with fire, campfires, wildfires. It's a huge, huge concern, and the state and federal government alike spend millions and millions of dollars each year on wildfire mitigation and education and protection. So those two things I think are maybe the heavy hitters for Arizona in particular.
Perfect, thank you. Another question, can you share examples of pushback you have heard from visitors and what you did about that in those situations?
Absolutely. I've gotten pushback from people before when I say, oh, there's this thing called Leave No Trace, and these simple steps can help you prevent impacts in the outdoors, help minimize impacts. And there are some people out there who just are always willing to challenge and approach what you say and have that counterpoint ready. So there's some people who, even though I tell them it's science-based, it's based on empirical research, they still don't believe it, and they believe that what they're doing is actually perhaps a better way to take care of the land. Leave No Trace is one effective way to take care of the outdoors, and it's not the only way, certainly. So what I try to do, I try to listen to what the person's saying, and if it gets to the point where I feel like it's kind of turning into this back and forth table tennis match of not really understanding one another, as a Leave No Trace educator, I've certainly known when to just kind of call it quits on a conversation. So you might get some pushback, but the talking points in the Appreciate AZ Partner Toolkit are really going to help equip you with some good information that you can provide to people. And if it's just not feeling right, if the conversation's not going in the right direction, you can always just step away from it and pivot to something else with that visitor or traveler.
Perfect, thank you. Another question that popped in, I'm not outdoorsy. What resources do you recommend I look into to learn about negative impacts that concern my area?
Yeah, great question. So on the Appreciate AZ website, there's some awesome resources for kind of a Leave No Trace 101, so to speak. You can learn a ton of great information about the unique impacts that might be taking place in your community, even if you're not somebody who recreates outdoors. Speaking of impacts, you don't have to go into a quote wilderness area to see impacts. Local parks, green spaces, all of those outdoor spaces that are adjacent to urban areas, cities, towns, you're going to be able to see impacts there. So I encourage you, if it doesn't feel comfortable now, if you get outside, if you walk your dog, if you spend time with people outdoors, start looking around. I bet you'll notice a few impacts, trash and litter being probably the biggest among them in a more urban adjacent space.
Thank you. Looks like the questions have slowed down a bit. There's one more. Where do I order posters and brochures? You can use our toolkit at tourism.az.gov, and you can use a Google form there that we have for downloading or for ordering posters, brochures, and even stickers if you want them with your for your business. You can always reach out to any one of us at AOT as well to kind of help you through that process. It looks like we've got everything covered. So with that, thank you everybody for joining us today. We certainly appreciate all the interaction and all the great questions. And Andrew, thank you for the great presentation. This will all be on our website, tourism.az.gov, and we'll have that resource posted up very soon. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us. We are happy to help. Oh, one last question. Do you have a QR code that we could put on trailheads? That's a really good question. At this point in time, we do not, but we can certainly take it into consideration because that is a great way to reach to consumers. Yeah, that's great. Great question. Thank you, Jan. Okay, with that, go ahead and feel free to email anybody here at AOT and we'll answer the rest of your questions. We'll give you guys back the rest of your day. Have a good day. Thank you, guys.